Yes, we have stepped up the game quite a bit as we are back into the realm of the Captain's Quadrant. I'm your host, Captain Joe Dove, back for season 3 of Picard and season 3 of the Captain's Quadrant. And I am not alone, and I am so excited to give you a list of all our wondrous guests. As you know him, VHS Jace. He is the producer of Captain's Quadrant and so much more, and he's Show's biggest fan, in case you didn't know.
Hail our Aussie overlord.
Yes. And then, of course, we have Jason Roy Gaston. He is the previous generation.
I love the pause. Like, we have Jason Roy Gaston. What are you doing here? What do you bring to the table?
And then, of course, we have the returning Normandy, Aller Galaxies. We're so happy that they're with us today.
Hello.
And of course, Captain Nita, joining the Captain's Quadrant.
All bow to the Queen, of course.
The Queen Klingon herself. So glad to have you all with us. And now that we've gotten the pleasantries out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, let's hop into the synopsis.
Oh, the synopsis. Thanks.
So we're going to go with First Contact instead.
No, you haven't read the new show notes, Joe. That's
you did read the notes.
Here's the synopsis.
All right. After receiving a distress call from Beverley Crusher, Jean-Luc Picard enlists help from generations old and new for one lost adventure, a mission that will change Starfleet and his old crew forever.
Wow.
So now we go into First Contact.
That was a synopsis, yes.
Yeah.
So,
okay, then. Well, until next time,
First
folks.
Contact, then? Yeah.
Yes, now
No worries.
A well-oiled machine we are.
Yeah, we did it.
Hey, can I first say, guys, it's really great to be back. I've been off for a few weeks, and I just wanted to let the audience know that, unfortunately, I had kidney stones over that time.
You were gone?
Full disclosure. Yeah.
I was gone for a few weeks, so I had kidney stones. Anyone who's ever had kidney stones knows how agonizing it can be. Yep, there you go.
Yep.
But I passed it, which was great, which was really cool. So I'm happy that's done now. And they gave it to me, so I thought maybe I could show it to you guys. So,
wow.
So here it is.
A little bit of
it was a little bit difficult to pass, but you know,
you are brave.
finally, yeah. I'm surprised you didn't. Surprised you didn't hear the screams over there, but yeah.
See, that's nothing. Mine guest starred in Strange New Worlds episode 2, Children of the Comet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he's now part of the family, so I decided to name him. So we've gone for more like a Wilson. So he's now a member of the family. And that's an old Castaway joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on.
Very old, yes.
Wilson was the name of the ball.
Yes,
Yeah, and he had a bloody hand.
Castaway was a movie starring Tom
Remember, he
Hanks
had the
back
bloody
in the
hand
early
print, and
2000s.
back in the day.
Yeah. A long ago.
But I really did have kidney stones, and they really did hurt.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Ooh.
now what I thought of this episode,
Yes.
all I got to say is this episode made it feel like Star Trek was grand again.
Yes. This felt like a movie.
It felt like more of a sequel to Star Trek Nemesis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which I loved, you know, and everything was grandiose. The choices of the James Horner music, that's where I got emotional at points in it. The whimsical banter between Riker and Picard, I absolutely loved. The sheer scale of the ships. We had longing shots of ships flying out of the space dock, which was
Ship
awesome.
horn. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ship horn.
And there's so much more I did like about this episode. There's a couple of things I didn't like, but I'll talk about that when it's the appropriate time. But
Same.
it comes up.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jace, what did you think? Mr.
I enjoyed it. I was actually really surprised because, as you all know, the seasons of Star Trek Picard start big and then just kind of nosedive into a mess. This one, for the most part, I know that there was a lot of activity and a lot of things happened and some revelations, but I found this a very quiet, measured episode. It was two friends getting together and, hey, let's go on a mission. Oh, look, Seven's here and Captain Shaw sucks. And yeah, let's go on this adventure. And to me, I find that comforting because this is a series that knows that the best, or at least what they think is the best, is coming later. And so I don't know. I have more confidence now after seeing this first episode, despite the fact that it was not quite as big and grandiose as I thought it would be. It felt great. And seeing Gates McFadden again as Dr. Beverly Crusher, honestly, I forgot. I forget how much I miss these characters because they're, you know, my house is like a nerd museum. There, you know, I have their action figures everywhere, and I have autographed pictures on the wall and things like that. But just seeing new things from Dr. Crusher was great, and Gates McFadden looks amazing.
How about badass?
Okay, say that
she
again.
has got some kind of deal with Mephisto going or something. I don't know. There's like a slowly aging portrait of her in an attic somewhere. Whatever she's doing, she's killing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Normandy, go for it.
So yeah, I mean, like, as a queer person, I saw Gates McFadden and was like, "Ma'am, please stop." Like, got a huge, like, I'm a healer, but like cocking my gun vibe from her at the beginning, which I truly loved. The things about this episode that really, really worked for me were, again, all relational, right? It's everything that worked in this episode for me was about kind of having more interaction with characters that we already know so well. And it was really nice to get Picard and Riker back together again. You know, you're seeing these characters, you're seeing them interact with one another, and it falls in, like the banter, the interactions, everything falls in because there's not just the shorthand of the actors working together for 30 years. There's the shorthand of all the history of all the characters that we're building upon. And that really worked for me. The other relational moments which fell very flat for me were in episodes or moments when we have characters that we never were given a chance to know, and we're being asked to kind of invest emotionally in characters that we weren't given the chance to know and given the chance to kind of love and everything. I'm very excited for this season. You know, I really felt intrigued. I agree with what Jason said about this episode being a little more understated. I think that has not been something I've seen a lot of in shows in modern Trek other than Strange New Worlds, just giving us a little bit of that kind of understated, you know, I don't need 12 plot points in the first episode for everything to engage me and grab me and hook my interest. And the limited plot lines that were happening in this episode made it very easy for me to follow along and kept me engaged and very curious about what comes next.
Right. All right. Nita?
I love the interaction and the slow pace of the episode because I think that that's going to really help the episode crescendo into something really great, especially since this is the episode that ends the show and really gives you hints on what these characters' lives has been, where's it going, are we gonna get another series that's an offshoot, a spin-off from this. You know, this is what's I think they're going to be working up towards. So the interaction between Riker and Picard was essential. It was fantastic. The reference to the older ships, the reference to other episodes in the TNG era, the Borg. We always want to hear about Locutus. That was always coming up. Those were really key moments. And the fact that, you know, Beverly, what a badass for sure. She was like, I'll heal you later when you're not trying to kill me kind of attitude. And I loved it, you know. And she also, in her message, referenced something that he wouldn't have known. She knew this, but she knew that he was going to get help. And that help was going to come from someone that would know. And I thought that that was beautifully done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For me, this is a great way to start off a big bang and a big goodbye. And
Yes.
I felt
Agreed.
like they're pulling out these big fishnets and grasping for things that are come together and feed us fans for generations. Get it? All right, so let's go to the comments, Nita. What are the people saying?
Yes. Well, first of all, our lovely and beautiful Cosmic Mom saying
Hey,
Hi, Cosmic
hello
Mom.
to everyone. We love her.
Hey, Ma.
And we've got Rowdy.
Hello, Rowdy.
Hey,
Welcome aboard.
hello. Oh, Cosmic Mom loves us. How
Oh.
Yay.
You
We
know,
know.
And
shucks.
this one is specifically for Jace. Right here. Welcome back, Aussie Jace. Kenny
Yeah.
Stone. Sounds painful. That's right.
Yeah, but you know, a new member of the family now.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
You appear in
and
every
yeah.
episode of the Captain Squadron.
I'm getting Star Trek uniform made, tailor made for Wilson.
If you guys think the Shreddies running gag was bad, wait.
Oh yeah, we're gonna ram this into the ground. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So are we ready for pros and are we ready for pros and cons?
Yes, we are. Okay,
Absolutely.
let's do it.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
I love that. Oh, that is my favorite.
Yeah, I'll never get over that. All right. Normandy, start us off. What were your pros and cons?
So the pros, number one, is just seeing these characters come back. I felt a very, very interesting and dramatic choice to make Beverley be the one that kind of went rogue. That was not something that I think I would have expected as somebody who watched, TNG and all the movies. She would not have been the person I would have suspected, to kind of like go rogue and not to cut everybody off. I thought that was a really, really interesting character choice to be made for a character who's known for being so nurturing, so loving, one of the people that holds the crew together, binds the crew together. I loved seeing 7 of 9 finally get her proper fitting Starfleet uniform. I think a lot of people are going to be thrilled about that. She looks great, not just physically in the uniform, but 7 of 9 looked really at home on the bridge, on the ship. That was really a special moment that we got there. The dinner scene with with Captain Shaw, that was really interesting. I'm trying to think where I know this actor from, because I know I've seen him in
The originals. He was the priest in the originals.
I've seen him. He's like one of these. There's a lot of actors that come into Modern Trek, and you're like, I've definitely seen you in like 10 other things before, and I kind of like recognize like your vibe, The reveal at the end, Beverly's son.
Yeah, absolutely.
That,
big one.
Again, that was a really good, got me, you know what I mean? And there had been a lot of speculation on Trek Talk of like, who's this guy in the poster? And everybody who said it was Beverly's son ended up being right. So the cons for me, I don't have a ton of cons other than to say like the Laris Picard relationship is just so annoying to me, and it's really lazy writing, and I'll explain what I mean. We saw them last at the end of season 2, we saw them, and it's like they're barely working out that they're going to be in a relationship. We then go forward and they're in an established relationship to the point where they're like bickering and talking to one another like stereotypical straight couple, like banter of like, oh no, don't do this, you do that. It's just really like not working for me the way that they have them. And then to have her kind of be like the wise person, like comforting him and being like, oh, like you need to go do this, like I understand you're giving up so much for me, like all of this stuff is like the way that they wrote her last season and this season, I feel like is not just lazy, it's misogynistic, and it's also like you expect me to believe that a former Tal Shiar operative is going to be acting like our character ideas of like a female human species from Earth. Like, get a little more imaginative, please, with us about what we're trying to see here between them. But again, it doesn't hit for me because I didn't feel like we ever got the chance to really see that relationship grow. And they did that also with Seven and Rafi from the season 1 to season 2, right? They didn't give us any of the relationship of them getting to know each other. It skipped straight into established relationship. And I just don't know that always works or always lands the way that people think it does. So.
All right. Jace. VHS Jace.
Which one? Yes. All right. I mean, a few of the pros. 7. You mentioned 7 before. You know what I actually liked about 7? And one of my criticisms of season 1, season 2, I always thought she was so different to the character of Voyager. So emotionally advanced. There was no traces for me when I watched season 1 and season 2 of Picard of the Voyager, so the 7 of 9 that I watched through Voyager. I got it in this episode. There were moments of her where she's still struggling with her place in social environments or understanding social cues, doubting herself. She was more stoic like she was in Voyager. And I loved that. I absolutely loved that. Also with Beverly Crusher, what I also loved about the choice that you were saying, Normandy, about her being a badass and stuff like that, it's the fact that they chose her to do it, because it raises the stakes automatically. Because if Beverly Crusher is that brutal, where she is just executing these aliens, something really big is happening, because she is the nurturing, the maternal aspect that she was. So I thought it is absolutely a great choice to make her do that. Some things that didn't work for me, the Ralphie storyline.
And we lost your audio.
Hello, can you hear me? Boy, trumpets and tea and kangaroos and the spiders are trying to kill me, and
He's
look at
coming
my
in.
teeth.
Man.
All right,
He's
so
muted.
what were your pros and cons?
Can we unmute him, because it says he's muted?
Cannot your mic is not connected.
Okay.
So in the meantime, Jason,
Oh, he's back.
There you go.
Oh,
There you
there
go.
you
She's back.
He's back.
Where were we?
Something that didn't work for you is the Rafi storyline.
Yeah, I didn't like that storyline too much. I don't mind the second half where she comes into a detective mode and she starts to find out about the Red Lady. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of where they're taking her, because I was getting invested in her relationship with 7 of 9. So to split them up, like, that kind of annoyed me. The other thing that annoyed me when we're talking about relationships, that there was a mention that Riker and Deanna Troi and that like things are not going great there. Which I'm like, do we really need that to be happening at this point? Love Shaw. I love Captain Shaw because he's so deliciously evil and such a power move straight away. So I like that. I also like it because, yeah, it's not an admiral this time.
No,
You know, they've brought it down a level now. We've got the captains being douchebags instead of the admirals. So
yeah, there you go.
yeah, there's a lot more. Also, a con is probably it's Picard's son, right? Is that what we're getting at? The end
Yeah,
here?
that's the Trek Talk surmise, and and
like it's there, right?
Speculations. I have a theory, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, so. Wasn't super thrilled if that's where they're going to go with it. But I love the cause and effect reference, because I'd only watched that last week.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So the fact that cause and effect was tied into it, I really love. So yeah. I mean, there's so much more you could talk about. All the references, fantastic. You know, Picard's desk, brilliant. Love all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's a really good introductory episode. It did pace itself on purpose. It definitely felt like a first chapter, not a first episode. Yeah, I think it's wonderfully done. It gives me, cautious hope that we're going to have something now that's going to hopefully be worthy of these characters.
Absolutely.
Oh, and a shout out to Crash LaForge. Love that.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was great. All right. So Gaston, please.
Okay. So I have to jump in here. Captain Shaw is right.
Oh,
He was right, and he's smart.
yeah.
Because he saw right through the BS from the very beginning. He knew that Picard and Riker were coming on his ship to commandeer it for some kind of mission. He saw through their nonsense and was like, nope, you're not doing this.
Very Jellicoe-like.
Yeah, and you know what? That tells me Shaw is smart. He's on top of things. Is he a douchebag? Yes, but he's a smart douchebag. So to me, that puts him up on Jellicoe tier. I'm really going to miss him when they kill him off. Because you know that's coming.
You never know.
Okay. Pros and cons. Here we go. I think that this is. I honestly think that this episode of television looks better than most of the next gen movies do.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
There is a sense of scale to this that is just huge. And I guess it's the slow look at that pretty girl. Oh my God.
She's beautiful. She is absolutely beautiful.
And they called it a Constitution what?
It's a Neo-Constitution or a Constitution 3.
So it's the Enterprise A mixed with the Enterprise B, and then this is it.
Yep, a neo-constitution.
My thinking is that Kirk's Enterprise from the TV show was Constitution 1, the refit was Constitution 2, and this is the third iteration.
It's a beautiful looking ship.
It's a very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love her so much. I wish Eagle Moss was still around. Speaking of which, did everybody see all the Eagle Moss models?
Yes,
Yes.
Man, yeah.
And they couldn't give them away.
Nobody wants a fat one. Oh, I thought that was great. Because honestly, sometimes the next generation does not understand the importance of the previous generations.
Exactly.
But okay, getting back to my sorry, you showed me the ship and I just fell in love again. I love the scale. I love the pomp behind it. I love the slower storytelling that is afforded by what is essentially a mini series, because you can get these lingering ship shots. You can spend a little bit more time on personal relationships, where in the movies it just seems like the execs were behind the scenes going, blow something up, blow something up, blow something up. We need a car.
You mean Michael?
Exactly.
Yeah. But I really enjoy the slow storytelling. I saw that there was an article where Jonathan Frakes said that the future of Star Trek was in television, not movies. I kind of have to agree with him.
Yeah.
And as much as I know that this is not what everybody feels, as much as I would love to have another Kelvin Star Trek movie to at least tie that cast up with a pretty bow before they're never seen again.
Yeah.
I do think that Trek works better if you're going to tell a movie type story as a miniseries like this, because I mean, this first episode was it was great, and it didn't have to blow something up every few minutes. It paced everything out. It gave us our character moments. Was it perfect? No. I'm going to echo that. I think that this series has done. I've forgotten her name. Picard's Romulan
love interest.
Yes.
Her name is Laris.
Laris.
Yeah.
Laris.
I think that the actress who plays Laris is wonderful, and I really think that character has been shortchanged by this entire series. I would have been perfectly happy if Laris had gone with Picard on this mission.
I was thinking that.
I thought they would.
You asked me, she would have been perfect to go on this mission. She's not Starfleet. Beverly said, don't trust Starfleet. You know that there's going to be lingering questions. There's going to be lingering tension between Picard and Crusher when they meet each other again. Laris would just, throw an extra
layer
wrench into those works. I just don't understand why they've shortchanged this character, because I love the character. I hate the way that they've handled her. I hate the way that they've handled Rafi and Seven's relationship. We seem to be skipping over the milestones. They held hands in the finale of season 1. Season 2, they'd broken up, and then they got back together during the season, and now they're broke up again. And it's like, why are we even bothering at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, like, that is accurate, like, women who like women relationship timeline, but I don't know that that's what we really need to see.
Yeah,
but it's like the Troy Riker thing, though. Throughout the history of seeing these characters on and off again consistently, and then you're throwing that into this episode, like, why would we care? It's assumed that's their type of relationship at this point.
Did he really say that they were having difficulty, or they were breaking up, or did he say, "Oh
no"? What he said was,
Esther and Troy would be happy to have me out of the house.
Yeah,
they'd appreciate a break
from me.
Yeah, but that wasn't said with a smile. Like,
it wasn't. It wasn't. But I read that.
Seriously.
I read that more as an indictment and a moment to pause for Will's mental health more than anything. I don't know how you all read that.
Maybe Troy's.
Maybe.
Can you imagine how annoying it would be to be married to somebody who can read your mind, though?
Yeah.
That would be so annoying.
Constantly,
Absolutely.
No, honey, I wasn't thinking about that other woman on TV. Okay, I was thinking about her, but you can't blame me for. You're going to blame me for that. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I just don't.
You want to read my mind? Read this.
Yeah. I just don't know how much meat on the bones of the storylines these are, with broken relationships getting back, and when you're consistently going back and forward. It might replicate real life in many ways, but for the sake of the story,
I don't feel like it's going to be a main point, focus point of the whole story, the relationship.
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Crusher,
Still.
Picard, yeah, but the rest of the cast, I think it's sub relationships.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
in
I have no. Just call me a car dealership in February because I have no interest.
All right, Nita, let's go.
Yes.
Pros and
Okay. Pros and cons. First of all, I love the fact that you're going you can see in the beginning and in the structure of the show that you're going to start seeing more or getting more information on what the characters have been doing.
Mhm.
And and I agree with Normandy that Lara should be given they should have explored that relationship a bit more. They had 2 seasons thus far to explore her and that would have been great. I'm not sure that her coming along would have been a good idea, only because how do you justify her coming onto the Titan since Riker, eventually comes up with this plan?
Yeah.
Okay, I disagree that Shoyle is a douchebag. I love him. I like him. He is
I
not
love him.
hero
I love him
worshiping.
too.
I,
but he is a
I didn't say
douchebag.
he wasn't a lovable douchebag. I just
And
said he was
he's
a
not.
douchebag.
You know what? He knew what they were up to. He knew they were up to something. And he called them out on it. And he
Yeah,
didn't
but
do
that
it.
power move of
That was
eating
so-
before they come
it was
in,
like,
that's very douchey.
Yeah.
No,
He
no,
knew.
no.
Yeah.
No,
He knew.
here's
He
the
was
thing. Let me.
flexing because he
The
knew.
execution was douchey.
Yeah,
It
No,
was,
no,
but
no,
he
it
had to
wasn't.
do
Let me. Hey, my turn. It wasn't. You know why? Because they were on his ship, and they were trying to make moves and plans on his ship. Picard would have never allowed that. He would have called someone out on it. And they have been hero worship throughout the Federation. And the fact that there's a lot of things
Oh.
that can be said negatively, especially about Picard. I mean, if we go back to Deep Space Nine, his first encounter with Cisco,
Yeah.
he was like, yes, we met in battle in Wolf 359. Like, he didn't even acknowledge that his action was a part of him losing his wife. The Federation took him back and had no conversation with anyone who lost anyone because of what happened about it and put him back in the captaincy. I thought it was great because no one wants to lose Picard. But if you're going to address the characters of these individuals, he had reason to be like, yeah, you think you're so smart, you're gonna come on here on my ship and you're gonna do this and you're gonna do that. And no, I would have called him out just the same. I don't know that I don't think he likes them, and he was letting them know, I don't think your behavior is Starfleet. I don't agree with that concept. I don't, but I think he does not like them. And
He was right. No, he's right.
He was
Jason
right.
Roman, he's absolutely agree with that.
Yeah,
But his
and he
execution was douchey.
he was exerting alpha power over them.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
letting them know that this is my ship. I run it. And of course, they still got away with it
For
because
now.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Weren't they doing that to him first?
Yeah.
They waltzed onto his ship like, hello, I'm an admiral, and this is a well-respected
Exactly.
captain."
Yeah.
And he's just like,
Yes.
no.
He was there. I agree.
Can we get that laugh again? I kind of want to.
But they're douchebags too. Everyone's a douchebag in this first episode.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why
the
I don't
way-
think he's a douchebag.
No.
And my con is, okay, this is gonna be strange, but I was kind of hoping he was not Beverly's son,
Me
but
too.
perhaps love
Yeah.
interest, and that he would have
Oh.
said,
That's
"That is
good.
my
You gotta be a
wife."
cougar.
Let me tell
Yeah.
you something. Girlfriend had a relationship
Yeah.
with a energy.
Yeah.
Why
Oh,
not
yeah.
a younger man?
She bopped a candle. We know.
Exactly. Why not a younger
Yeah.
man?
Hey, you know what?
You know,
There's
she's
an old
a
country song that says
badass.
older women make beautiful lovers, and I fully agree.
There you
Yeah.
That would have been.
I
you know
did
what?
not
That would've
like
been
that they
better.
put Rafi in a situation where she is an addict, recovering addict, but she's an addict, and you put her in the middle of a place where clearly it's the crackdown of space.
Yeah. I got to get back into Starfleet so bad. So
Yeah.
bad. Give me
So
a
let
fix.
me get some of that information real quick. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, she's the
Yeah.
right person to do it in
Execution
the
was
sense.
off.
Yeah.
Y'all got any more of that red lady?
Yeah.
I
And
was
why
gonna-
would the Orion care about helping anyone get into Starfleet? Like that whole conversation made no sense. I understood she was trying to get information, but I think that her presentation of how to get it could have been better met if she would have been like, came up with a different story. Because I don't think the Orion would have cared. Like,
all right.
mhm.
I'm going to get into my pros and cons really quick.
Woo.
So
Do it.
my biggest pro was the Red Lady. The Red Lady
yeah.
being the captain of yesterday's Enterprise, the Enterprise C.
Yes.
That's
What's
what
up
it
with
is.
that?
Captain
Yes,
Garrett.
Captain
yes.
Garrett. I love that. I was like, oh, that's a nice thing. So now it ponders,
Yeah.
okay, this has some type of temporal thing. I also loved the look of those aliens. They were creepy looking.
Yes.
And they're obviously masked. Those are masks for sure. So I'm wondering what's going on behind
Didn't they say they have different faces every time?
Yes.
They have different faces every time.
Yes.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
says
Maybe
they
especially
show
Carlin
up
and the
looking
crew of the
different
Orville.
every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Man.
So this is going to be.
Did anybody notice the shapeshifter aboard the Titan?
No.
Oh.
No.
Yes, go back. There was a shapeshifter. She looked just like Odo on the Titan.
Oh, wow. So
Now
the
I've
Easter egg
got
that I.
rewatch.
Now I gotta watch
Interesting.
that again.
Now I gotta watch
Yeah,
When
absolutely.
she introduces
I'm just going right now.
when she
Yeah.
introduces when 7 and 9 introduces the bridge crew,
Yeah.
she's kind of in the back, and they do like a whole
A
camera.
fan, yeah.
Yeah, and you see this individual.
Is that when we meet Crash LaForge?
Crash-
Yes.
No.
I just love the way she was sitting there, just grinning ear to ear the whole time.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
definitely a pro for me, was seeing LaForge's daughter and how the like immediate, oh my god, really? Oh my god. And I was like, I almost felt like he went to hug her, you know, it was
It was a
really
sweet
like
intro,
joy.
I
It was like
thought.
your godfather's coming to see you and help out.
Mhm.
That's what I got from that. And I really love that. The relationship things is kind of wonky, but you know, we're here for this grandiose mission that's gonna cue things up. And when it comes to queuing things up, how awesome was the throw to the Daystrom Institution? They were
Mhm.
robbing the Daystrom Institution. Why? Who
Yes.
is? What's going on here?
Oh, I've got some
Who's
theories, but I'll
robbing
hold
the-
on to that till later.
That's like robbing. What's that bank in New York City that
Fort Knox.
Fort Knox.
Yeah, it's not New York City, but
No,
yeah,
that's not New York.
Is it
That's-
Fort Knox in New York?
No,
no.
it's in
There's a
Virginia, isn't it?
there's
Well,
a bank
what's,
in
didn't
New
you have a
York.
golden reserve?
Yeah, there's a bank in New York City. that-
Die Hard with a Vengeance says that.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, you referenced it, but I don't remember the name of the bank. My other pro was for sure the villain ship at the very end when it came out.
Yeah,
It
that was
looked
sick.
amazing. I was
I
like,
wanted
what
that ship.
is
That
that?
ship is called the Shrike, by the way.
The
If
shrike.
you know
Oh,
anything
really?
about birds, what shrikes do to their prey is pretty
Yeah.
gruesome.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'll have to-
Awesome. I love that
I'll have
name.
to- Wait, y'all, Aussie Jace, you probably know what a shrike does because they're probably in Australia, right?
Those are American
probably.
Oh,
birds.
they're American?
Oh,
They're
there you
American
go.
birds, yes.
I'm
They take
terrible
their-
with birds.
They take
Yeah.
their
We've got
prey
enough problems
and
with animals.
impale
around
it.
here.
They take their
Yes.
prey, a little bird. They take a prey and impale it on thorns, like a bird,
Yes.
like a cute little bird does that, and then they stand on top of it, like what? Like,
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
Yeah.
that's flexing. That's
Yeah.
the
That's serious flex. My
That's so
oh, wow.
metal.
That is the most metal villain in Star Trek history.
I'm just happy we found an American animal that Jace is afraid of.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, I hate birds too.
All right, so my cons were few right now. My only everybody kind of hit the nail on the head with Rafi being a big con. Not the actress, obviously, but how they positioned her into the story. But it was like,
Yeah.
all right. So she's on a mission, but they could have spruced it. But
I was glad that she visited Coruscant, though. That was good.
it was nice to her to go. I thought it was the what is it? The Last Jedi, the Camino.
Yeah.
I was like, it's cool, that casino's planet. So that kind of threw me off. But there was a pro that came out of it, and that was this new weapon that kind of picked up
Yeah.
an entire building and then dropped it on another.
Like
Yes,
like a
this.
wormhole building.
Yeah,
That was
That was a cool visual.
How amazing is that?
that was incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That was
weaponized
terrifying.
wormholes. Yeah,
Yeah.
That was very terrifying to see.
yeah,
And she was
Absolutely.
trying to, but there was, she got there so late that
yeah.
it wouldn't have mattered if they responded,
Yeah.
if they tried to evacuate. That thing took up miles and miles in a whole
Mhm.
circular motion.
Yeah.
There was no
Yeah.
escaping that.
Quite honestly,
You know-
though, I have a small con about that scene. And to
Really?
me, it seemed like everything on La Serena with Rafi was disconnected from the visuals of the Starfleet building getting destroyed, because it just seemed like, I don't know. There was no. It's just, to me, it seemed like they were just being filmed in two different rooms, and there was no connection between them.
It was very neon looking with Ralphie at night.
Yeah.
It's very that kind of look and feel. And then when you're getting this during the day, it's very.
Well, but you have to think
If
about
they
it.
would have done some kind of
Starfleet.
like over the shoulder shot where it showed her looking down there, I think it
Yeah.
probably would have gone a long way into connecting those scenes, but they just seem so
Well, I mean,
disparate.
you have to keep
Can
in
we-
mind that real quick, you have to keep in mind that Starfleet is always this shining beacon of light in the universe, supposedly, and
Mhm.
every shot of San Francisco has to be bright and beautiful, and that was just another visual telling of how bright and beautiful Star Trek is. Jace,
Wasn't
Not
San
for this
Francisco.
though. Look at this shot. Look how almost decaying the bottom half of that image
Yeah,
is.
that's not San Francisco. That was the planet that Rafi was on. I
Yeah,
believe.
and I love that design because we got that poverty style, worn down,
Mhm.
industrialized feel,
Correct. Yeah.
which you don't normally see in
Yeah.
Star Trek. So
And it just gives diversity of class.
Yeah.
yes,
yeah,
yeah,
Because
and you're right. It says so much.
Yeah, it really does, because we see Earth in the 25th century as this perfect haven, the utopia. It's beautiful, it's bright, but everything is controlled, right? They
Right.
can
Yeah.
control weather, they can control how
Mhm.
things look. Nobody's starving because of replicators, but that's not always so when you leave
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
right,
Earth.
exactly.
You know?
Great point.
yeah. All right, so let's go to the comments.
Yes, let's go to comments. Geek Filter has a fantastic comment here. If
Yeah,
Riker went back into service, Deanna would be pissed 100% realistic. I think I might agree with him. She might be annoyed.
Maybe. But you know what? I don't care at this point because it's just like I don't need to know that side of those characters because I've been told about that side of those characters for
Mhm.
30 plus years.
Yeah,
And he says here, not everyone is a
No.
hero worshiper.
Yeah.
It is true,
Yeah.
right?
whatever.
And I like this question. Are they broken up or is it just part of the cover? I asked that same question to myself.
I
when
hope that's
watching it.
that. Yeah.
I
Well, for
think it's
Ralphie
part
and
of the
Seven?
cover.
Yes,
I hope it's
Okay.
part of it cover.
yeah. I think Ralphie and Seven are broken up just for the cover.
Yeah.
And I,
Is that the sounds of Brooklyn again, Nita?
Oh yes, I'm so sorry. It's the sounds of Brooklyn. I live in my building's only 3 floors, and I'm on the top, so I hear everything. I'm sorry, it's
Wow.
like 60 degrees in New York City. I
yeah,
got windows open. It's hot here. I have one more comment. This is fantastic from Geek Filter. It says they've introduced to the Bridge crew. You can go online and read about them. Meet two of them at
We
the
met
two of them at the
Wonderful.
premiere.
Flexing. Oh my
Wow.
God.
Yes,
That's
Team
awesome.
in our group
Hard.
flex. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. I'm,
So-
I'm
Yeah.
watching,
you, buddy.
I'm watching the premiere of Star Trek Picard on
Dude.
YouTube. I'm just sitting there going, "Oh, look, there's Sean Ferrick. There's
Yeah.
Jesse Gender. I love them." Is that Geek Filter?
Yeah.
Doing there. Yeah. He's
Our
Looks like
flex.
really
We
fun.
saw a couple of our viewers on there actually.
Yeah.
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 Listen,
Wonderful.
Geek Filter's flex is he went to the premiere. Our flex is that we know Geek Filter.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
We
Like
also
the
know
6
Sean Ferrick.
degrees of separation.
I like to think that I made Geek Filter everything that he is today.
No argument from me. I think so too.
yeah, and yeah,
This is brought to you by World of Delusion.
we are swimming in the river Denial. Let us go to commercial as we get ready to go to
Future speculations, actually, Joe.
Yeah.
So, what's next? I don't know.
That's perfect. That's really perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right.
Oh, that scene is so great out of context.
know.
I love it.
It's one of these scenes in Star Trek where you're like, you see a gif of it and you're like, there's no way that's real, and then you watch it and you're like, oh,
See,
it is.
Oh, it
That's why Q told Picard that he was his favorite.
Yeah. All those times you were shirtless, I was lying next to you.
All he had to do was punch him in the face like Cisco.
And you were gone.
Yeah.
My man knows how to
Oh.
deal with the Q.
I have to get this future speculation off my chest, and then I will throw to one of you.
Do it, brother.
And I believe that because I mentioned Captain Garrett earlier, the Red Lady, I believe that we are going to get some type of closure to the Yesterday's Enterprise storyline that we might have missed. And I believe that we are seeing some type of temporal rift with Beverley. And we are seeing, of course, as the Trek community on TikTok had mentioned, is that they hooked up. Rowdy had brought it up. They hooked up in the Yesterday's Enterprise timeline, and that's the love child of Beverly and Picard. But the reason why she kept him in that area and didn't put him in danger is because she knows this, he doesn't belong in this timeline, and we're gonna have a big go from there. So that's the big one. As soon as I saw
that's a lot of exposition there, Joe.
You're welcome. I pull from the strings of air. But that's what I believe is going on. That's my future speculation. We're going to start with Roy Gasson. Jason.
Okay. I think we were just given a big red herring at the end of the episode.
Really?
I don't think that he's Picard's. I don't think that he's Beverly's son. I think maybe he thinks he is. I think that whoever this guy is, I think the actor's in his 30s.
Yes.
So a lot of people are saying, well, whenever Beverly left the Enterprise in the second season, obviously she gave birth to a son and then rejoined the crew. The question is, why would she leave the kid behind?
Right.
Yeah.
Why would Wesley not know about it?
Yeah.
So I think that this person is either that's the cover story that I'm her son, or he actually does think that he's her son, but and she's had to keep this subterfuge up. Because this Beverly she's a bit hardcore. She's
skilled people,
intentionally people, and it's like she will cure you of life. But that's my theory on this guy. I don't buy it. Just something in my brain does not buy it. And I don't know, something about not trusting Starfleet. To me, that keeps me going back to conspiracy, the bluegills.
Yes.
The little alien.
You're getting the bugs back.
The butt bugs.
Oh no!
I want bugs to come back.
Wow.
The bugs,
the butt bugs.
So what? I don't know. It's
That
just
would be
for
a
some reason
ball.
I have no evidence, but that would be a great way to kind of sideline Shaw if he was a bluegill.
Oh.
Ooh.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I have no evidence, and I will not be taking questions from the press at this time.
All right. All right, Normandy. Future speculation.
I definitely am agreeing that there's temporal stuff going on. I think that the temporal stuff has been the most interesting part of Picard all three seasons so far. I think the kind of temporal timeline rifts, everything else is like one of the more interesting things. I'm don't have like a prediction on this, but I'm really curious how they're gonna be getting the band back together in terms of getting LaForge and Worf and everybody involved. Like I'm definitely ready to see that. Yeah, I think that I honestly like don't have any predictions, frankly, at this point. I'm just more like curious. Like I think it's a very interesting interpretation that that's not actually her son, or that the timeline. I think both of those are interesting, but I definitely feel like this was an episode where maybe in 3 episodes we're all going to be like, oh, wait a minute, you think that thing, and you have to go back and you know. So
that you
I kinda
rewatch
like-
it. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there's one bit of obvious prediction there, and that is who Rafi's handler is.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know who it is. I know who it is.
Yeah, it's got to be. So that's where he's going to come into it. We
Yeah.
know that We know
What's
LaForge is running the Fleet Museum, and so that's where he's going to come into it.
Yeah.
And
Wait,
then-
I didn't hear who you say Ruffy's handler is.
oh, it's Worf.
Worf. You
Yeah.
are a warrior.
You are a warrior. Yes,
Yeah.
Worf. We know.
Yeah. Worf.
Yeah, we get it,
I
buddy.
wanted to see that. It comes up. You are a warrior. Worf, is that you?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No.
No.
Stop saying,
Come on, Worf. That's
Don't say
you.
anything about Worf. Yeah.
This is not Worf. I don't know who Worf is.
I don't
but
know
he
what a
sounds
Worf
really
is.
cool.
But he handsome.
That's so true. That's so true.
There's so much to unpack, but there's a comment that I want to address, but I'll address that at the end. So, Nita, future speculations.
Yeah, I'm with. I think Worf is the handler.
Mhm.
Okay, for Rafi.
Mhm.
But I think that Beverly was on a mission sent by Worf.
Ooh.
Whether or not that is her son, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But who is to say that just because it's her son biologically, let's assume, why does it have to be Picard's?
Because he's
Yeah.
rich.
Maybe,
Well, he looks like Picard.
And he looks like
Yeah.
maybe it was someone else.
It's also English.
he's English.
Uh,
Looks like
he's
Patrick
not the
Stewart.
And the
only-
show's called
Shaw's
Picard.
baby.
So
Yeah.
And he's not the only, biology doesn't give you your British accent. So
Yeah.
that is also throwing me off.
Yeah.
Because something's off with that relationship. I agree
Yeah.
with.
It's funny you mentioned that. Like,
yeah.
if you watch the show notes from not show notes, but movie notes for the original plan that they had for Rey, it was actually going to be Obi-Wan's daughter. That's why she had the British accent. So that's why a lot of people, Picard's daughter. That's it. It's Picard's kid.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
biology doesn't
I just-
dictate your accent.
No, it
And
doesn't,
so
but,
who raised
put two and two together.
if
Yeah,
he
but
was
Picard has
raised
a
by
British
her?
accent, and he was raised in France, and yet,
Yeah.
yeah, come
That's what I was
on.
just gonna say.
it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Any,
But-
are you
but-
ready for Jace?
Yeah. Are you
Nita?
ready? Sorry, go.
Nita?
What happened?
I said,
What?
do you have any
What's
other?
Oh no,
No,
not
there was-
at all.
all right,
That's-
James, all good, all
I'm
good.
sorry. I apologize.
But I will say, when
I
it
thought it was
comes-
clear. I was done. My apologies.
Okay.
You
Go
just
ahead,
need to
Jay.
do the whole Devil Wears Prada. That's all thing.
Yeah, I will say though, it's a pretty poor writing misdirect if he isn't his son, because you got to remember we are Star Trek fans. We're right into the lore of it.
Mhm.
When you write these shows, you have to write it for everybody. So if that's what they've done, because they've very heavily implied it, and then they've taken away from it, I think that's lazy writing. I
Yes,
really
it is.
do.
Agreed.
Unless there's a reason for it. Now, if there's
That's
a good
what I'm
reason,
saying. There might
yeah.
be a reason for him not to be his son.
I
But I also agree that it is lazy
It
writing.
should never
because
been
it does
introduced them like
goes.
that.
Yeah.
I
So
think
that's
sorry, just quickly. I just think that there's also a difference between like writing that's lazy and kind of writing that I see very common since what I call the Game of Thronesification of all forms of media, which is that there's now a style of writing where it's like we want to get a satisfaction out of tricking our audience, right? Like we want to set up all the narrative clues and
really?
we want everyone
Subversion.
to follow
Yeah.
along, and at the last minute we want to say, "Oh, see, we're smarter than you." When I think
yeah,
good
we subvert
storytelling
expectations.
is setting up the clues so that your viewers are like, "Oh my god, I knew it!" Right?
That
Yeah.
would be a funny way to start the next episode. Start it out with, I'm Beverly's son. And Picard goes, no, you're not.
Mhm.
Yes, I am. No, you're not. How do you know? It doesn't fit in continuity. Okay, fine.
Look,
I
as
just
for
wanted her to be
future
my mommy.
As for future expectations, it's really tough, to do
Mhm.
them on this, and I think we've covered it because we're essentially reading chapter 1 of a 10-chapter
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
That-
So we are really throwing out wild theories at this point.
And I let it off. Woo!
Yeah, but if I was to guess, if I was a betting man, just on, you want to get all the band back together quickly.
Yeah.
So you
yeah.
would suggest that you do want to see Worf and LaForge in the next episode and get that introduction.
And Laura.
Getting, and then
And
yeah,
Beverly
exactly.
Beverly expects him to do that because giving him Hellbird when he knew he would not know what that is because he was Locutus, let us know that she expected him not to go to Starfleet but to go to the
Yeah.
crew.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was an
absolutely.
indication.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
No, I absolutely agree with that. So yeah, I'll be fascinated to see where they go with this, because here it is. It's not the hardest thing in the world to write a great first episode. It's going to get a lot harder now to keep the audience engaged. Because episode 2, 3, and 4 is really going to dictate where this series is going to go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
I have
Agreed.
one more piece of future speculation that I forgot to mention earlier.
Go for it.
They mentioned a theft at the Daystrom Institute.
Yeah, I said
Yeah.
that.
I think it's pretty obvious what's been stolen.
Lore.
Lore
Yeah.
and
Moriarty.
Professor Moriarty.
Yeah, and
Ooh,
possibly
yeah.
Oh, that's
Peanut Hamper
right.
And that little square box that Jeffrey Combs voiced from Lower Decks.
Yes, and Peanut Hamper.
Yeah.
Peanut
All of them.
Hamper.
Peanut Hamper.
All of them are going to be there.
Also, I think we'll get introduced to Amanda Plummer, her character. in the
Yeah,
next
we
episode.
Yeah,
said.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she's saying she wants revenge, and I'm just like, we don't
What?
even know who you are, man.
Yeah, where are you, keyboard
Ma'am,
warrior?
this is a Wendy's.
It's like she's
Please
on Twitter
continue.
at the moment.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the comments. Because there's one that
Absolutely.
I want to address because there is an answer to that.
Yes,
The
this is
timeline
the
would-
time. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
You read it. Go for it.
The timeline was completely erased. Guinan was the only one who had any indication that something happened. How would that have worked?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you of our Romulan villain from the season arc that followed up when the unification, because Tasha Yar had from that timeline gone into Romulus, had a family, and then we had the villain that Denise Crosby came back and played. So that's how that could work,
You know something that has occurred to me?
because she's supposed to be in this.
At the end of last season, there was that big transwarp conduit that the board didn't know anything about, and they were just then we were just kind of like,
that's right.
yeah, let's forget about that. What if this new young character that has been introduced is Beverly's son from another universe where Jack Crusher never died?
That's really
Ooh,
interesting.
nice.
And
See, and,
what-
and
Okay, I like
Wow, that works really well.
Yeah.
Actually.
What about the British accent?
He grew up around Picard, and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
hello,
yeah.
Uncle Picard. Do you like my accent? Are you making fun of me? Yes, I am. Teasing.
No,
puppets. Oh, great.
his accent-
Oh.
that kid's accent's more like he grew up watching Guy Ritchie movies.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yes. Now we have a comment on that comment. It says, but that's because Denise Crosby's character went back in time. That didn't happen with Beverly and Picard. But then
Right,
we
but
also
there's a-
have,
There's when you have a temporal vortex, it alters the timeline again. So it's just like one of those loops that you can keep looping.
yeah, we have
What if-
Let's not
what
get into
happened to the-
conversation time travel. We'll end up getting migraines.
It says here the Picard writers are not like the writers of Discovery. We are not going to get the burn where you couldn't possibly guess what the reason was. They are better than that.
Oh, come
Shots
on! I knew
fired.
from the first episode it was going to be some kid screaming.
Y'all
Y'all didn't really?
This kid, he got really angry because he didn't get his snacky snacks.
It must be my supreme intelligence that was able to do that.
Yes, they needed the snacky snacks.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a kid
right.
throwing a fit. There we go.
Yep, and one more comment from our friend Geek Filter. I don't think there's actually a way to make that work in the laws of Star Trek time travel. Ooh,
Geek
I don't
Culture just
know.
shooting down the theories like Beverly shooting
Yeah.
down aliens at the
I
beginning.
know,
I think there's going to have to be a
right?
face
Knock them
off.
down. Boom, 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 boom.
I want to
No,
know
I
where
don't-
he's
I don't
putting
agree
his
because-
face off.
Listen, they can, if they want to write it, they can make it happen because they
Yeah.
just write it in. All right. So if you want to go that far, we'll go that far. If the way they write, they want to write it that way. It makes sense. It makes sense to me as a viewer. It makes sense to you as a viewer as well. And boom, we're there. But I do think that
Gotcha.
it's going to be a connection, because why would you bring up Garrett as the Red Lady and make it such a pivotal point in this episode and then not go that way? It has to be a
Because
connection.
it's a shout out. It's a
No, I think
recognition
it's going to be more
of
than
previous plots, which they did quite a lot of in their
Mhm.
right.
episode.
But at the same time, we still have this mystery of who this guy is. We still have these. The question is, Denise Crosby is supposed to be in this, and how else would she be in it? If
I
it's
agree
not
with
the throw-
Joe.
If it's not the throw to yesterday's Enterprise.
I agree
Yeah.
with Joe. They have to go to that throw to yesterday's Enterprise
Yeah.
to
It's
bring
too
him
much
in
there.
as a Klingon.
Don't agree.
Yeah, I like this one too. Stop trying to make Picard's son happen. It's not
Not gonna happen.
it's gonna happen. I don't. It doesn't really matter if he's Picard's son or not, but I'm just saying if that is Picard's son, that's a good way to have it. So, all right, let's go to commercial.
Yeah, we'll go to commercial. It's not really a commercial this week, guys. Well, it kind of is, but you'll see.
Lives and Times Records and Tapes proudly presents Sir Patrick Stewart's Cowboy Classics.
Keep rolling, 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 though the streams are swollen. Keep them doggies rolling, rawhide. Through rain and wind and weather, hell-bent for leather. Wishing my gal was by my side. Cut 'em out, ride 'em in, ride 'em in, let 'em out, cut 'em out, ride 'em in, rawhide.
Long known as England's premier cowboy singer, Sir Stewart now brings his music stateside.
Oh,
That was for Jace, for Texan Jason specifically.
Much obliged, man.
Once I saw that, I was like, how could I not do that? You know, I'd only seen that the other day. I'm like, we're playing that.
It's
yeah.
Patrick Stewart's something else. You just think he's this prim, proper gentleman, and meanwhile he's doing voices for Family Guy and
That
referencing
clip
Beavis
goes
and
on
Butthead.
for 4 minutes with him singing all these country classics, and
Amazing.
his voice is pitch perfect. The guy
That's
can
amazing.
hold a tune.
Yes,
Yes,
he
he can.
can.
Yeah. So talented.
That's from the last week tonight or last week something.
Something
on
like
Oliver
that.
show. Yeah, because it was all over Twitter for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we
There
go.
you go.
All right. So,
Captain, I'm taking over now.
that's
I'm
it.
taking
Then
over the show.
I
You sit
relinquish
back and be a
my
guest.
host duties, and I will take off the glasses and
And you let me take
Punch
over. All right, guys, we've got something brand new this week. We're going to try it, and it is a game show for these guys, and we're calling it.
It's time for Name That Shrek-isode. The hell is
All right, name that Shrek-isode. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. What we're going to do this week is the guys are going to watch what is a blurry image come into focus, and they have to guess which episode of Star Trek it's come from. So we're just going to get it set up because I lost my audio at one point, so not prepared.
Yes,
Somebody fire the producer
all
of
over
the
again.
show
That's our
because
show's
he's
slogan.
Maybe I should put my
Captain's
glasses
Quadrant.
back on.
Not
He's
prepared.
clearly horrible. There is no doubt about it. Here we go. Here we go, guys.
I'm so
Now,
not happy.
we're not gonna
I
start
can't
it
see
yet.
anything.
Can you?
The trouble with tribbles.
You can't, Captain. That's very observant. All right, guys. So you just yell out your name if you, in the next 30 seconds, could recognize the name of this episode.
Wait, we yell out our name, like I'm like,
Yeah, so
Nita!
you go Nita.
Oh, okay.
Normandy,
We
Jason.
yep. Okay, really? We yell out our. Okay, that's weird. But okay.
Well, I don't know. Have you got a buzzer, guys? Come up with something
I
else.
can
Go,
go.
oi.
I can go me.
No, we'll keep it Aussie and we'll go oi.
Oi.
Oi!
Oi.
All
It can
right.
be oi.
Happy with that?
Oi.
Oi.
All right.
All right, guys, here we go for the next 30 seconds. This image is going to slowly come
It's like
into
the
focus.
first episode of Jeopardy. Like, make a noise. I don't care.
Make it
Buzzer
noise,
don't.
yeah. Oi. So here we go,
Me.
guys. Slowly coming into focus. Now, my wife, who is a casual Star Trek fan, actually got this in 18 seconds.
Oh, I know
Oi!
this one, but I can't remember.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
Right.
Oi, Nita, what is the...
But that's Picard when they had to turn off data because
For what episode?
what episode? I don't know.
I'm going to keep it going. I've got to keep it going, Nita, if you don't have it.
Oh, is
No,
that
keep it
Fistful of
going.
Datas?
No, incorrect, Joe. You're out.
Hmm.
9, 8. You guys are going to kick yourself. Well, guys. I would have thought you would have got this
Normandy?
one, but Nita was correct.
Yeah, it's the one they turn off data, but I thought that
Yeah,
was...
but in what episode? And here we go.
Oh.
Of
Yeah.
course,
Game.
the game.
with the
I've
little things
I've never
on the
looked at data
eyeballs.
from this angle. It's really quite nice.
Well, that new
Yes.
segment was an
Forgot that
unmitigated
was-
failure. So there we go. That was it. No, but guys, next week we're going to be asking everybody who's on. Well, not asking. If you're watching live, you're going to have a chance to win a prize. Isn't that correct?
You're
Joe?
obligated. You're obligated to take part.
You're obligated. So what's going to happen is Nita, at the moment before the segments start, she's going to pick out some live viewers, attach them to our guests, and our talented people, as you can see from the last segment, will be playing in your behalf. And if they win, you win a prize.
I do believe we have been insulted.
Yes, you have. That's what we can do about it.
I think he's replacing us.
It's probably for the best.
We'll win a prize, won't you, Joe?
Yes. We
So
will.
if you're
Where's
going to
our
be
prize
here,
coming from?
From our store, from our Spectrum
we have a
St.
brand
Torrance store.
Oh my
Check
goodness.
this out, folks.
You could win a brand new cover for your Switch, a T-shirt, a mug, a glass of water. You could win, a video from Ozzy Jason. I mean, there's so many things that you could win, and so much fun. And if you are impatient and you want one of those things, please visit spectrumsanctorum.net.com.org, and you can buy those things with your own credits. Yes.
Okay. Awesome, Joe. We got it.
All right. Let's do that.
make sure though that when you come on and watch us next week that you comment so that I can see your name, and when it's time to play the game, I can link you to one of our hosts. And if they win, you win.
And if
also
you're watching
make
anyway,
sure that
why
you
not
eat a
try
bowl
to
of
win
Cheerios
something
because it lowers your cholesterol.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lose,
Aliens graveyard.
Everyone keeps their genitalia in the same spot.
All right.
Well, that's why Beverly has a son now, I guess.
Yes.
Well, that was the episode of.
It's time for Name That Shrek-isode. The hell is that?
Oh, well, that was that segment. Now let's. All right, and we're moving
like a well-oiled machine.
Yes.
Well, that was purpose.
That's
I
right.
need an ending video for that segment, don't
Yeah.
I? But
Well,
all right, but we're moving on to our next segment, guys, because we've been on for an hour now. I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah,
people
let's
are
wrap
falling
it up.
asleep. And let's go to now stupid Star Trek questions.
It's time for stupid Star Trek questions.
All right, this week's stupid Star Trek question comes from one of our special guests, and that is Michael Chan. Michael Chan asked the question: do Federation baby outfits prevent poop blowouts?
What is wrong with him?
I don't know. But if you want to find out what's wrong with him, don't forget to watch our Captain's Quadrant interview with the Star Trek Discovery actor, Michael Chan, which is on YouTube, available at the Spectrum Sanctorum channel.
Awesome.
Oh, yes, that's the one.
All
I had to
right,
miss
so
out
let's
because
go
my
back
daughter broke her
Oh,
leg.
my Lord.
Let's go back to Michael Chan's question. I mean, we've talked about poop in the Federation before. That seems to be something that I haven't clearly explained. But baby, anyone who's ever changed a baby, I'm sure all of us here have changed babies. We know that when they go to the toilet, there's a certain larger radius of trajectory where things can end up.
Really?
Yes.
yeah.
So
Yes.
with that kind of explosive
Quite
environment,
spectacular.
Quite spectacular.
what would the Federation do with that? Would there
So
be
I can-
special?
They recycle everything in the replicators.
That's it. You put the baby in the replicator and you get something better. like a goldfish.
I meant the diaper.
Oh.
I can see replicators being able to make like more custom baby outfits, because like one of the problems with as someone who raised my brother, was one of the problems with a poop blowout is when the diaper doesn't fit right and you go to pick them up and they've pooped all the way up to the back of their neck,
Yeah,
and you're
they
just
get
like,
back poop.
so
Wait,
I think that
Back poop.
Back poop.
yeah, if they're like in
Yes.
the position,
It
they
comes-
can
It's
just go
feeding your
all of
children.
No,
Yeah.
okay, no,
It's-
it's a common thing. It goes out the escape hatch, it
Yep.
travels up the crack, and next thing you know, it
Yes.
comes
Very
out. It comes
common.
out of the back like
And it
Old
goes-
Faithful.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
that to look forward to one
or
day,
it
Joe.
goes up
Oh,
the
yeah.
front, or are everywhere or just, like it goes everywhere all the time. So I can see like with the replicators and everything that Federation baby wear could possibly have like a little, not like something that's going to cut off baby circulation, but like a little more of an elastic garment that would go a little higher and perhaps like be able to expand. So maybe it's like a high-waisted diaper. So if your baby
highly absorbent, I would suggest.
Yeah.
You're right. They would have material that would not only breathe but highly absorbment. So it's still there, but it's not going to be horrific.
It could sense the poop and change its properties.
As Geek Filter asks, can it be beamed away?
Yes, you could beam the baby away if you wanted to.
Seems like a lot of resources.
Yeah, wow.
I agree. Babies are a huge waste of resources.
Like O'Brien's is in the transporter going, all right, we got 3 to beam out. Oh, and a little junior in the corner there. We got to get rid of his.
That's the question for the O'Briens.
For the engineers. We need an engineer.
You know O'Brien changed Molly's diaper that way at least once. Like,
he beamed it into
check this out. Miles, don't you ever do that again.
Well, you're sitting at 1040, you're just seeing this diaper float through space. O'Brien beamed it out.
Number one, there seems to be an object floating outside of Guinan's window.
Mr. O'Brien, fire.
Well, that was it. That's it. I don't think I have a better answer except for I think Normandy got it with this one because I think it's all down to material and it's all down to design.
If you ask me, I think that if Starfleet was going to allocate any kind of resources to a project such as this, it would be towards, the later years Star Trek movies where Kirk would need depends.
Oh,
because you know he had a few blowouts.
This is a good one. Unpopular opinion, and it's beamed into the replicator and repurposed. I think that's what really happened.
Then I'm never ordering ice cream from the replicator ever.
It is canon according to Discovery and Admiral. What's his name? Yeah.
Admiral Vance. Yes.
Admiral Vance.
Admiral Vance.
Admiral Vance. Yes. Who Nita and I are going to meet this May, right, Nita?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, that wraps up.
Well, thank you, Michael. You obviously came up with an excellent question. They got the whole team debated, and I think we came up
something wrong with you.
With a reasonable answer. I really do. I think
it's a perfect answer, and it's not that ridiculous a question.
No, yeah.
Have you ever seen a roll of toilet paper in any of their bathrooms?
No.
The 3
seashells. Know how to use the 3 seashells.
You know what's funny? They had a 3D walkthrough that a fan put together of the Enterprise there for a while, and at one point you could go into the head of the Enterprise bridge, and there next to the potty, 3 seashells.
Oh,
yes, it was outstanding.
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
Great. Oh, well, that ends stupid Star Trek questions. Joe, I'll throw it back to you, Cap.
All right. Well, that's going to end the episode. Is there any other comments that you want to throw out real quick before we close our doors and prepare for next week? Nita?
One more here from Geek Filter. He said that's probably what actually happens.
Yeah, maybe that's what happened to Beverly's baby. Was that O'Brien tried to beam the diaper off the baby, and now the baby's caught in a transporter beam. Well, I'm sure he'll come out in like 30 or 40 years.
Oh my God!
There you go. Oh, no more transporter beam.
There are no more kids in transporter space. No thanks.
So when they come out, they get to play Alan Moraine.
Yeah.
Oh no!
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this wonderful episode of the Captain's Quadrant. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Big thanks to you, Out of Galaxies, Normandy. Nita, thank you once again. And, of course, my dudes, Jace and Jace, attorneys at law.
That's our next show. That's our next show.
You terrible attorney advice. Well, I'm an Australian. I think it would be. Anyway, please be sure to subscribe. Be sure to share and be sure to like the video. For those of you watching right now, if you can give us one of those friendly likes, it does a lot for our algorithm and pushes us forward into the great beyond and into the 1,000 subscribers that we need. So please be sure to subscribe as well. And we'll see you next week as we go into episode 2 of Picard. Captain Joe Dove wishing you the best. Peace and prosperity.
Can never do